Welcome back, my love. Today we're going to talk about 3 invisible ways you are actually absolutely self-sabotaging the success in your spiritual coaching or healing business. And I'm going to guess if you're watching this and this caught your eye, there's most likely 2 of these that you are doing right now that are getting in the way of where you want to be. When I first started my coaching business, I was experiencing success. It was growing. I moved to Bali. My business was growing. I was getting clients and it all felt fairly easy at the beginning. And then I met this point in my career and I just couldn't move through it. Things kept not working, launches kept not working, things started feeling really hard. And then I noticed as I dug deeper, I had a lot of self-doubt coming up. I had a lot of stories coming up. And I just kept hitting this ceiling. More recently, this shows up for me too in more subtle ways. So an example of how this showed up for me recently was last week. I was meant to film a whole heap of content for my course, content for YouTube, and some other content for a workshop. And the night before, I was like, I don't want to go to bed on time. The night before, I was like, maybe I'll just eat the type of food that I don't usually eat. I didn't notice at all what was happening at the time. I went to bed later, I woke up really late in the day, I got ready really slowly, and I realized I had prepared no notes. So no course notes. So for when I'm filming my course, I usually have the notes, in front of me. When I'm filming this, I usually have dot points to read off of, and I had nothing. I realized and I reflected that I had absolutely sabotaged my experience of getting that content recorded. And this is just one example of how it happens, right? But in this example, it was sneaky, it was subtle. It was almost so hard to see I had done it until I reflected and I thought, why isn't today working out the way it usually does? And I knew I had resistance. I knew there was fears coming up around this filming day. I don't know why, because I filmed 1,000 times before, but I too am human. And I had so much coming up. And when I really sat with that and got curious about it, I realized that I absolutely had self-sabotaged that filming day. And it didn't show up in this big, crazy way. It showed up in those small ways. Eating weird food the night before, going to bed late, waking up late, not preparing any of my notes because I didn't have time. Maybe some of this sounds familiar for you too. After working with hundreds of coaches and healers to grow their businesses, I kept seeing these similar patterns right as people started making money, or right as they went to launch the thing, or right as they went to hit that next milestone. I think you know what I'm talking about. And as I observed them, a lot of them were about these unconscious patterns. Sometimes I refer to them as energy blocks, wounds, stagnant energy in the body, emotions that have been unprocessed. But I think something we can all relate to is this feeling of sabotaging ourselves and the unconscious things that are happening in the back of our minds that create self-doubt that is almost crippling. And that, my love, is when I realized that this is something that we need to speak about more and talk into way more. And maybe for you, it's that your last launch didn't work out how you wanted and now you're having absolute launch fear and launch vulnerability. I get it. Maybe it's the last 3 people that reached out to work with you all ended up saying no. Maybe it's that you need to start posting more and you need to, or filming in a different way. And stuff is coming up. And that, my love, is why this video is for you. I'm going to go through 3 key ways or core ways that I see people subtly self-sabotage themselves and get in their own way when the success is right there. These core 3 that I'm going to go over in this video, they aren't always obvious, right? They aren't always at the forefront. You may need to explore. You may need to ask your subconscious these questions. You may need to dig and look at what's underneath them. And you may even need to notice how subtle they are playing out for you. Or maybe they're really obvious and you're like, oh my gosh, yes, I do that. Anyway, my love, I want you to overcome these ASAP because I want you to grow that soul's mission. I know you have this deep desire in your heart to put out the work you're here to do, and I full-heartedly believe you can. So let's explore them. One more thing before I dive into them. If you want more things just like this, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter below so you can get more insights and feedback on how to grow to 5, 10, 15, 20K months. I'm so excited for you, my love. The first one is a really common one that I actually see all the time. Are you ready? You are treating your business like a cute little Instagram business or a cute side business or a spiritual business or just not even a business, just as this thing you do. It has like hobby energy still, even in the smallest ways. If you aren't seeing your business as this absolute thing you own, that I run and own a business, not just a coaching business, I'm not just a coach or a healer, I run a business. This subtle mindset shift can help you go from making that little bit of money or that, first few $1,000s, $5,000 to those really consistent months. You might be there thinking your soul-led work doesn't need structure, it doesn't need all this strategy, it doesn't need a container, but it does, because it, my love, is a business. And all the people out there saying, you don't need more strategy, you don't need more strategy, what they mean is you don't need to jump from more strategy to strategy. You need to stick in the containment of one strategy because your business deserves that support. It deserves to have a structure, a foundation that any business needs. Imagine going to a business that you can feel, touch, and see, right? You go to a store, a clothing store, and the clothes are just everywhere. And they're like, I don't know how you really pay for these. And like, I don't know, like just take some or like we can just sort it out. It would feel really unstructured and you probably wouldn't leave buying any clothes. The same thing's happening in a coaching or healing business. It needs to feel real. So on this first point, what I want to leave you with is instead of playing small, instead of thinking this is just some cute thing that you do, I want you to see yourself as the CEO. I want you to see this as a real business that deserves your intention, attention, and so much respect. The next self-sabotage pattern keeping you stuck in your beautiful, soulful business is that every time there is growth, you knock yourself down. This can happen in big and little ways. Every time there is big growth, you wonder, am I not good enough? Maybe I don't make enough money. Maybe I'll never make that type of money again. Maybe it's been a fluke. And I see so many entrepreneurs who are actually the most successful ones I work with, ones that are already making 10, 15, 20K months consistently, struggle with this the most. It's like we can't stop and see the success we had before and bring it into the now. So we knock ourselves down right when we're leading to where we want to go. We knock ourselves down, we believe the story. What I want you to feel into here is how do you become the observer of the story versus being so attached into the story. You become the story, you grow tentacles and you join in on the story. Notice that feeling. I just love to describe it as those tentacles that we wrap around it and we believe it. Versus how can we actually create space between that belief and you and create that space there where we can observe it. We can say, this is interesting that this is coming up again. Right before I'm about to grow. We're about to try a new strategy on our Instagram, and right before we booked the meetings, right before we looked at everything we want to do, I was like, this is just a bad idea. I think that it'll make me feel like, insincere and like not, in my knowing and I went in too sorry. Right before there was space to grow, I went into story. And it was my choice to believe that story or be like, let's give this a go and see what happens. And that is how sneaky, silent, and that careful that self-sabotage can be at slipping in when you're just about to grow. And the third, but definitely not the last, definitely not the least, definitely not the only other one, but the one I'm going to talk to you about today is hiding behind, maybe I'm just not ready yet. Or hiding behind, maybe I'll just launch later. Or hiding behind, maybe it's just not the right time to start that. Actually, the kids really need me, so I won't do that right now. Actually, that thing's happening, so I won't do it right now. And this one is like a careful one that is really, it's really good at like convincing you. It's really good at being like, but this sounds really believable, doesn't it? Like our baby, whatever it is, that actually really needs our attention and love right now. Or our life or our relationship or whatever it is, something else outside of me. With this one, what I want you to get really good at is self-inquiry. Because the truth is, it could be a point in your life where something else is requiring you, calling you, needing you. But what I like to do is imagine that I'm floating above my life. And as I float above my life, I look at all the moving pieces. And as I look at all the moving parts and pieces, I look at them and I say, okay, which parts of these are really true? What parts of me actually need this? What's the truth here? What am I hiding, avoiding, and pretending not to know about all of this? And I look at it all from the objective seat of all these moving parts and pieces. And it helps me see, am I really not ready yet? Does that thing really need my attention over there? Or was it a really clever ploy by my brain to keep me safe and not do the thing that I'm here to do? Another way this shows up is maybe it's just out of alignment. This is all in this same theme, right? Of not ready, not this, not that, that thing needs me. Oh, it's just not fully in alignment. What if you allowed something to be 80% in alignment and you did it from that energy? You just said, yeah, sure, we'll do it from 80%. What would that mean? What would that allow you to create and experience in your life and in your work? So my love, which of these three are you currently doing? Is it 1, 2, and 3? Is it all of them? Is it other ones? Did it spur on different thought patterns? I want you to be able to stop self-sabotaging your soul-led business, to become the coach, the healer that you're here to be, to match the identity of what you desire in your body, in your mind, with the outward identity that's sharing and being out there in the world, sharing its souls. Your gifts were meant to generate income and impact, my love. So if this work speaks to your soul and you want more just like this, remember, you can click the link below and you can join our newsletter and get more stuff just like this in your inbox to keep you aligned, on center, on purpose, in action every single week. But until then, my love, thank you for being here. And remember, you're so powerful and you've absolutely got this.